How many people have seen the movie with Albert Brooks in it called Defending Your Life? Anyone know that? Anyone know that movie? All right, so a few people. The rest of you have to go out after Shabbat ends, obviously, and purchase this and watch it. It is a must-see. It's quite brilliant. It's with Albert Brooks and Meryl Streep. It's a very good movie, and so you have to watch it. Shabbat Shalom. That's all I wanted to. I just as a public service announcement, letting you know that you have to watch this movie. That's all I wanted to say to you tonight. I have nothing else to say. Yeah, that's a first. Yeah. No, don't worry. There's more. Another 45 minutes. So if I won't spoil the movie by saying that the movie is really about defending your life. It's actually what it's about. It's about this main character who has to defend his life, and he goes to this place called Judgment City. And in Judgment City, he has to defend his life. And my favorite parts of the movie are the scenes where he's defending his life. There are like moments. They're almost like mini court scenes where clips of his life are shown on a screen, and he has to defend a situation. So you might be able to reflect on if your life was at some point projected onto a screen where other people could critique it. Think about it for a moment. Think about some scenes you might think, yeah, I would show that scene. That's a good scene. Or, nope, not showing that scene. That's not my best moment. And so this is pretty much what it's about. So it's the plot. It's sort of defending his life. It's very interesting. The best part, perhaps, of where he's at in the space that he's at in the movie, it's sort of like I sort of picture it as if you've been to Universal City Walk, it's sort of like that. It's like a place you can walk around and go to malls and restaurants. And what's great is where he's at is that there is no caloric intake, whatever he eats where he's at. So you can have like 17 lasagnas and they guarantee you don't gain any weight. And so my favorite scene in the movie, which I'm not going to it's not a spoiler, is that, because you're going to all watch it, it's part of your post-Shabbat homework, is that he loves this pie where he's at, and the guy's like, I'm giving you 16 pies. And he walks out with these 2 huge boxes of 16 pies, and because he can eat them. So that's I want you to think about defending your life and pie, just because I like pie. And we'll talk about a second to the Torah portion. The Torah portion is called Behar, on the mountain, Behar. It's my wife's bat mitzvah portion, so I have to take very careful care of it. She's like, you're talking about Behar, so don't mess it up. Okay, so it's on the mountain, and it has a lot of interesting parts to it. Perhaps the two popular parts is that it talks about the Jubilee year, which is counting certain number of weeks until you get to weeks into years, and then at the 50-year mark, it's called the Yovel, or it's the Jubilee year, where you're excused from certain debts you have. It's a very intricate system. That's the whole first part. And the second part is the very popular. The quote from this week's Torah portion is on the Liberty Bell. The line "proclaim liberty throughout the world" is from Leviticus 25:10. It's this week's Torah portion. So now I know you'll sleep better, because you're wondering, boy, I hope he talks about the Liberty Bell quote, because I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight unless I find out about the Liberty Bell quote. So, all right. So I want you to think about liberty and justice, and think about those things in your heads, connected to like defending your life, that whole concept. And then I want to share with you the interesting part from a book from a guy named Ron Wolfson, who is an incredible Jewish educator, and he wrote a book called 7 Questions You're Asked in Heaven. 7 questions you're asked in heaven. So I'm going to go from 7 to 1 and let you know, in his estimation, when you get to heaven, what are the 7 questions you have to respond to? You ready? Let's see if you get a couple of, think in your head sort of what it might be. So here's number 7. Number 7 is, were you the best you could be? That's number 7. Number 6, did you enjoy the world? That's number 6. Number 5, Did you get your priorities straight? That's number 5. Number 4, did you have hope in your heart? That's number 4. Number 3, did you set time to study? Number 2, did you leave a legacy? And number 1, according to Ron Wolfson in his book, is, were you honest? That's the first question. According to his book, we're going to be asked in heaven from Ron Wolfson, this great Jewish educator. So, are you going to be honest? And so that connects perfectly to what the Torah portion tries to do the whole time. It tries to, with this liberty and justice concept, remind us that our job is to act justly. So much so that it picks up on a sentence from the Talmud that asks the question, which asks the questions, did you conduct your business dealings with integrity? So Ron Wolfson thinks the number 1 question in his book, when you get to heaven, is that. And the Talmud thinks the number 1 question is, did you conduct your business dealings with integrity? So the Talmud thinks the first question you're asked when you get to heaven is, did you deal your business dealings with integrity? That's what the Talmud thinks, which is similar to, were you honest? So the book, as in the Talmud, and the Ron Wolfson's book sort of balance out pretty well, asking that question, did you conduct your business dealings with integrity? Because here's the quote from the actual text. It says this, when you sell property to your neighbor or buy any from your neighbor, you shall not wrong one another. In buying from your neighbor, you shall deduct only from the number of years since the Jubilee. Remember, that's the 50 years. And in selling to you, he shall charge you only for the remaining crops. The more such years, the higher the price. The fewer such years, the lower the price, for he is selling. And then God ends the section with this sentence that says, do not wrong one another, but fear your God, for I am the Lord your God. Do not wrong one another. That's pretty much what the Torah portion this week is saying. Don't do it. Don't wrong one another. Whether it's with the business dealings, whether you think of it as the sort of defending your life, sort of if you have to defend different parts of your life, right? So all of that comes down to, were you dealing properly in your dealings? Were you honest, essentially? That's what the Torah portion is asking us right now. And here's the thing. It sounds like it's talking about the future. Sure, because it's sort of reflecting on our lives backwards. But what that actually means is it wants you to do these things now. Right? Judaism doesn't focus on the afterlife. Judaism focuses on what's happening right now. So we have to deal with the business dealings and interact with the people that we love in a proper way, and we have to be honest here. By doing that, we merit something better, perhaps. And that's what the text is trying to tell us. Maybe that's why it's called Behar, meaning it's on a mountain, meaning it's giving you a higher perspective on what it is our job is as humans, as Jews, essentially, and that is to decide, were we honest? And so I invite all of us on this Shabbat to reflect not only on this great book, but if you have not read the book, by the way, you should read it. It's a very good book. 7 Questions Are Asked in Heaven by a really great Jewish educator. It's a really good book. But not just think about that, not just think about the movie, but think about how we can do these things in our lives. If we do them already, how do we improve them? If we don't, how do we find better ways to do so? And I think honest also means with yourself. I don't think honest just means to other people, like not did you lie, but are you honest with yourself on what you want, what expectations you have, or what expectations we have? And so I'll leave you with this for all of us to think of on Shabbat, is that do we do these things in our lives with integrity? So whether we're examining 7 questions or figuring out how to defend our lives, the question for us is, let's find those correct answers to those questions. Let's find a way that we can defend our lives. And when you see the movie, you'll sort of get what I mean, because it's your homework. And also this idea of, if you're the number one question you're asked in heaven is, were you honest? And go through that list of the 7 things, can we reply yes to all of them? Shabbat shalom.